So it's been a struggle, and it continues to be.
Ocean Jones had to temporarily close his Healthy Harvest CBD store in Mobile. He doesn't have an ABC consumable hemp products license. 5 days ago, it became a requirement to do business in Alabama.
It's this matter of impossibility where you're saying I have to have this license, yet you cannot, literally physically cannot provide it to me right now.
He says he's filled out the forms and provided voluminous documentation that's required by the state.
So this is the pre-application. So this is before we even get to the application. And it's just a slew of documents that we had to provide.
Jones is not alone.
That's our store. So we're packing up what's left there.
Amy and Roger Crawford also had to close their SunMed Modern Wellness store in Orange Beach because they haven't received the required hemp license yet from the ABC board.
It's like it's not even a priority for them at all.
It was our own government that got in bed with these two entities that put us out of business. So this was orchestrated by the alcohol industry in Alabama.
They say the pre-application went live on ABC's website in December, and they've been working through the process trying to get the license before January 1st. They were hoping for a grace period that would allow them to keep their doors open, but they say that hasn't been offered.
Amy and I were homeless 7 years ago, and we went from homelessness to 3 stores, 2 homes in 2 states in 5 years. These products saved our lives. I was an over-the-road truck driver, addicted to ibuprofen, ZzzQuil, caffeine, and alcohol. And that's the problem, is this plant heals you.
The licensure fiasco is the latest death knell for CBD retail stores in Alabama. Last July, a new state law took effect that banned the sale of smokable hemp products. Jones says that was 70% of his business. In 6 years, Jones says he went from 4 store locations and 20 employees to 2 stores and 5 employees.
The thing that bothers me is that alcohol is far more harmful by every single metric than cannabis. Yet cannabis gets all of this scrutiny, all of this regulations. Why? What's the reason for that? The only explanation is special interest.
Sweeping regulations here in Alabama have strictly limited the sale of hemp products. From the retailers allowed to sell to the products they can have in stock. It's changing every aspect of the industry. In addition to the product limitations, retailers now have to go through multiple steps to stay in line with the new law. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo shows us what one retailer is doing to get business back up.
Alabama's new hemp laws are impacting thousands of businesses across the state. In Florence, Green Acres Organic Farms made their own products for just under 7 years. Now they have to meet strict regulations just to be able to stay in business. Alabama's House Bill 445 went into effect on January 1st, limiting the sale of all consumables like hemp-based gummies, drinks, and smokable hemp. In order to sell these products, retailers now have to go through the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board to get an individual retail license. But to license with the ABC, the law says sellers have to go through their local government first to get permission to apply. The company got resounding approval from the city council tonight, that verdict coming back with a full 6 votes. With that said and done, the retailer now has to go through the state's ABC board to get a license to operate, and that's impacting operations for Green Acres. While the business says their inventory is compliant with the new law, they have to stay closed until the ABC board approves their license. Owner Carmelo Parasilides says that's leading to a big loss in revenue, forcing them to close 1 storefront permanently and lay off several employees. He says despite the limitations, he just wants his business to stay open.
Seeing the folks who relied on us for our products and not able to help them, that's a gut wrencher. And then also having to let employees go that you've worked with for several years is very unfortunate, and it's I hope no one ever has to do that. Really, the only thing to do is stay positive and stay persistent.
And the city council says they want the same for local businesses like Green Acres.
As a city council, we are very supportive of our small businesses because that is the jewel of our city. That's what gets people to come into our community, our downtown area, and all around it. And I think that's what makes this huge. It's showing our support for these small businesses.
For Green Acres, the next step is to start applying to the state ABC board to get officially licensed to sell hemp products. In Florence, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Tonight's decision may help set a precedent for other hemp businesses in the area, but for now, the ABC board will continue the process by going through thousands of applications, just like the approved tonight. Local residents getting a chance to speak with state lawmakers ahead of the upcoming legislative session on the issues most important to them. There are nearly 160 pre-filed bills for Alabama's upcoming legislative session. But before that begins, Fox 54's Gabe Glassman takes us to the Madison County Legislative Delegation's annual public forum, where residents spoke about the issues most important to them.
The annual Madison County Legislative Forum bringing a crowded room of residents with many questions and concerns impacting them directly.
We want to know what's on their mind so that we can take that and translate it in the work we're doing in Montgomery as the session opens.
Local state lawmakers see events like tonight as an opportunity to connect with their constituents before making their way to Montgomery.
It actually helps shape policy and also give us an opportunity to make amendments to things that may not be exactly the way our constituents want them to be.
It's always interesting. You really don't know sometimes what issues will come up and that are on people's minds.
These people don't generally have the opportunity to get all the way down to our state capital in Montgomery, so it's really good to see them here, hear about their issues firsthand.
Residents brought up points surrounding multiple issues, including water quality, the death penalty, and health care.
I wanted to speak on good governance because our state legislature has been wasting a lot of its precious time on things that don't really matter, so-called culture war issues. There are folks who can't pay their medical bills, there are folks who can't find steady work, and we need to help these people. We can't just waste our time with things that aren't solutions.
The fact that we have an F for our hospital safety rating and 2 out of 5 CMS stars for quality of outcomes, we really and truly need to be holding our public hospital accountable.
Many of these issues and dozens of others will be officially brought to the table next week when the 2026 Alabama legislative session kicks off. From downtown Huntsville, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
These issues and others will start to be addressed when the 2026 legislative session kicks off next Tuesday. As state lawmakers prepare for the upcoming legislative session, you may have noticed headlines about bills being pre-filed. But what does that mean, and why do legislators file bills before the session even begins? We verify. Pre-filing allows legislators to submit proposed laws weeks or even months before the legislative session officially starts. During this time, you might see dozens of bills filed on everything from education and taxes to hemp regulations. But why go through the trouble? Why do legislators pre-file bills? Let's verify. Our sources are the National Conference of State Legislatures and the Alabama Legislature's official website. According to the National Conference of State Legislatures, pre-filing helps speed up the legislative process. In fact, most state legislatures across the country allow lawmakers to pre-file bills before a regular session even begins. This early submission gives legislative staff time to complete necessary paperwork, number the bills, and organize them for review, essentially providing a head start before lawmakers officially take the floor. Pre-filing also benefits the public, businesses, and advocacy groups. It gives them a chance to see bills early, understand the potential impacts, and provide feedback before the session formally begins. In Alabama, the legislature system works like this. When a bill is pre-filed, it is given a number and informally referred to a standing committee. Then on the first day of a legislative session, the bill is read and formally referred to the same committee where the official process begins. The Alabama legislature also notes that pre-filing bills is only valid for regular legislative sessions. The National Conference of State Legislatures also points out that in some states, committees can even hear and vote on pre-filed bills before the regular session begins. However, in Alabama, committees must wait until the first legislative day to take action. But it's important to remember that pre-filing doesn't guarantee a bill will pass. It simply gets the bill into the system early. The legislative journey is still long. Committee hearings, debates, amendments, and votes in both chambers must all happen before a bill can reach the governor's desk. Many pre-filed bills never make it that far, but the early start can make all the difference for lawmakers. If you have something you want us to verify, text us at 256-382-2692.
Now, the Tennessee Valley's certified most accurate forecast from the Fox 54 Weather Impact Team.
And a good Wednesday morning to you. I'm Fox 54 Weather Impact Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Maybe a little bit of patchy, dense fog as we head out the door for work, get the kids on the school bus this morning. With that in mind, maybe just allow yourself a couple of extra minutes as you head out the door. 52 at 7 o'clock in the morning, 53 at 8, 56 by 9, continuing to warm up somewhat quickly. We're talking about temperatures that are rather abnormal for early January, 58 degrees by the time we get to 10 a.m. Now, to put it into a little bit of perspective, the average high temperature in early January is right around 52 degrees. That's going to be the temperature at 7 o'clock this morning. 58 by the time we get to 10 a.m. And then from there, temperatures only continue to climb. I do think we're going to get to enjoy a little bit of sunshine this afternoon. I still think it's going to be difficult to come by, but we are going to get to enjoy a little bit of sunshine. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 60s, pushing 70 degrees. We're going to get really close to 70 over in northwest Alabama, Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin counties. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to fall just shy. It'll be a wonderful evening. We're not going to be talking about any rain. We're not going to be talking about that annoying drizzle we were talking about yesterday. And it's going to be quite warm. 60 at 6, 58 at 7, 56 by 8, 54 degrees by the time we get to 9 o'clock. Then, as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning, once again, we're looking at another warm night. It'll be another one of those nights when you could give the heater a little bit of a break because temperatures really aren't going to fall off all that much. Upper 40s up across southern Middle Tennessee, upper 40s across northeast Alabama. Everybody else talking about low temperatures that are only going to drop off into the lower 50s. The average low temperature right around 34 or 35 degrees. As we head into your Thursday, warm once again, temperatures consistently climbing into the upper 60s. Some of us are definitely going to see in the lower 70s as we head into your Thursday. Now, let's play Futurecast through. We're going to start things off at the lunch hour on Friday. A cold front is going to push its way through the Tennessee Valley as we head into Friday evening and then through the course of the overnight. There's going to be a rather robust line of showers and thunderstorms that's going to develop across the Tennessee Valley. It's going to be directly associated with this cold front. Now, this line of showers and thunderstorms is going to pack a bit of a punch. For the most part, it's going to bring the threat for some incredibly heavy rain, bringing some really impressive rainfall totals. With that in mind, Friday is going to be a Fox 54 weather impact alert day, and not necessarily because there's some sort of great threat for strong and severe thunderstorms. We could get some stronger thunderstorms thrown into the mix, but the overall threat for severe weather as of right now, it's Wednesday morning, remains incredibly low. The Fox 54 Weather Impact Alert Day comes into play where this is going to be a really big rainmaker for us across the Tennessee Valley. Rainfall totals are going to be quite impressive. Flash flooding is definitely going to be a concern, especially as we head into Friday evening through the overnight. Futurecast more local now at the lunch hour on Thursday. A mostly cloudy sky bringing in a couple of light showers. Those certainly can't be ruled out Thursday afternoon, but otherwise Thursday looks like it's going to be quiet until we get to the overnight where some initial bands of rain begin to develop across the Tennessee Valley. For the most part, the Friday morning commute looks like it's going to be without issue. Then things change. Late Friday morning, early into the afternoon, here we are at the lunch hour. Some initial widespread rain and even a few thunderstorms are going to be possible across the Tennessee Valley. At times, we're going to be looking at some widespread heavy rain, maybe a couple of thunderstorms thrown into the mix, frequent thunder and lightning. We could get some gusty winds as well. Once this widespread rain builds in, it's not going to go anywhere anytime too soon. And that's going to be the big problem with Friday is, yes, there is the chance for some stronger thunderstorms, but the bigger concern is going to remain the threat for some incredibly heavy rain. 4 or 5 o'clock, it's still with us. 8, 9 o'clock at night on Friday, still with us. We're looking at some of these deeper yellows, getting into some of the deeper reds. We're talking about some incredibly heavy rain. We're also talking about the chance for some stronger thunderstorms. Midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, guess what? We're still talking about that incredibly heavy rain. Now, that activity does get out of here by the time we get to the middle part of Saturday morning, and then through the course of Saturday afternoon, we do get to enjoy a little bit of sunshine as the cloud cover begins to break. Look at these rainfall totals, and now you'll kind of understand why we have the Fox 54 Weather Impact Alert Day on Friday, because widespread, we're getting 2 to 3 inches of rain across the Tennessee Valley. On a more local level, I think we're going to be talking about 3 or 3.5 inches of rain. And that's going to lead to the concern for some flash flooding, especially once we get to the later part of Friday afternoon and Friday evening after sunset when it gets dark. And that's going to bring about a whole other concern. That risk of flash flooding likely going to linger into the earliest hours of Saturday morning. We stay warm through Saturday, 65, 68, and a pair of 67s, both Friday and Saturday. It's not supposed to be this warm in mid-January, early January even. We know that. We're going to be brought back to reality Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. Plenty of sunshine those 3 days, but temperatures only climbing into the upper 40s, 45, 48, and then 51 by the time we get to next Tuesday. Stick around to Fox 54 Plus, got more weather and traffic updates coming up.
President Trump has an aggressive vision for projecting U.S. strength in the Western Hemisphere, and his critics are wondering what country may come next.
Venezuela's oil sector may need plenty of rebuilding, but President Trump says the U.S. will be in for a windfall.
You know, at some point they should say, you did a great job, thank you.
Speaking to Republican lawmakers yesterday, the president said he wasn't given enough credit for the operation to remove Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. But that's just the start, he says, posting a short time later on Truth Social. I am pleased to announce that the interim authorities in Venezuela will be turning over between 30 and 50 million barrels of high-quality sanctioned oil to the United States of America. The proceeds from that oil, he says, will benefit both the U.S. and Venezuela. But none of this will be easy or quick.
For Venezuela to increase production from 1 million barrels per day to 2 million barrels per day, this would not happen before early 2030.
And in the meantime, Democrats wonder where this will stop.
What country is next? Is Colombia on the table? Are we going to invade a NATO ally like Greenland? Where does this belligerence stop?
In fact, the president has talked about ramping up pressure on Colombia, Cuba, and Mexico. As for Greenland, long a Trump target for a U.S. takeover, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt wrote this: "The president and his team are discussing a range of options to pursue this important foreign policy goal. And of course, utilizing the U.S. military is always an option at the commander-in-chief's disposal."
And we will hear much more about all of this through the course of the day. Administration officials are heading here to Capitol Hill to brief the entire House and Senate on the president's strategy for Venezuela and beyond. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Unbelievable, right? January 7th was a day that we'll never forget. One spark turned into a full-blown catastrophic event. And so I was here that day. So I pull up my garden hose, no mask, no goggles or anything, and I just started watering down for about 45 minutes. But it's a miracle that this house still stands. Hopefully it's a beacon of hope that we're going to move back here and we're going to help reestablish what we left and what we lost and try to recreate the wonderful community of the Palisades.
This is the property where we owned a home since 1994, and January 7th of this year we lost it in the Palisades fire. Welcome to our abode. So there were no fire department here. We didn't sign up for this at all. And so I'm still pretty mad about it in terms of the city's responsibility. Like I'm not wealthy, been here for over 30 years, fixed income.
You know, I have a wife that has a number of autoimmune issues, unfortunately, and so she's, I mean, frankly petrified about moving back here in an environment that may be unhealthy. When you ask me how does it feels awful and it feels very unsettled, trying to figure out what our next move is.
We don't want to have to rebuild a house. We have no interest in rebuilding a house, but we have to now.
You know, the emotion of it all is, you know, we just feel abandoned, I think, at the end of the day. I just can't believe that this whole city could burn with knowing that we're going to have 80 to 90 mile an hour winds. And there's perfect storm, whatever you want to call it. It was negligence and so unfortunate, obviously.
With ACA enhanced subsidies gone, millions of Americans will likely have to shell out more and, in some cases, a lot more for coverage in 2026 or go uninsured. Another option is finding less expensive policies, but that usually involves trade-offs. Extending the Affordable Care Act's enhanced premium subsidies has been at the center of several battles on Capitol Hill in recent months. Now that they've expired, millions of Americans will have to make an important healthcare and financial decision.
As of January 1st, millions of people saw that their premium payments are going up. Some of them may have already dropped their coverage. Other people may have tried to switch from, say a silver or a gold plan to a bronze plan, which would have a much higher deductible, but might keep their premium low enough that they could afford to stay insured.
Enhanced subsidies made Obamacare coverage much more affordable, which helped draw a record 24.3 million people to sign up for 2025 policies. Cynthia Cox is a senior vice president for KFF, a nonpartisan health policy research group. She says enhanced premium tax credits allowed lower-income Americans to enroll in policies with $0 or near $0 monthly premiums, while those in the middle class became eligible for help for the first time. Cox says 4 out of 5 consumers were able to find 2025 plans for $10 or less a month.
Starting January 1st, lower income people have to pay 2 to 4% of their income. Higher income people might have no cap on how much they have to spend. They might have to pay full price, which could be 20, 30% of their income.
Open enrollment ends January 15th in most states, meaning there's still time for people to shop for coverage before being automatically renewed into their same plan. 10 states are providing eligible residents with additional state-funded subsidies that could blunt some of this year's premium increase. California, for instance, allocated $190 million to replace the enhanced subsidies for many of its lowest-income enrollees for 2026. But that doesn't come close to the $2.5 billion in federal enhanced subsidies that enrollees received in 2025. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Across the U.S., flu continues to spread, with all but 4 states showing high or very high levels of activity.
It's a combination of factors that has unfortunately created this so-called perfect storm of cases.
Dr. Gavin Harris with Emory Healthcare says a new flu strain called Subclade K, a lack of natural immunity to it, along with lagging flu vaccination rates, are all working together to wreak havoc. The CDC estimates that at least 11 million people have had the flu so far this season. 120,000 have been hospitalized with it, and 5,000 people have died.
And we're still about a month or so away from the typical peak of flu season, which occurs in February.
And because of that, Harris says flu cases are expected to continue rising, along with common flu symptoms like fever, cough, body aches, and fatigue. Harris says they're seeing a lot of gastrointestinal issues like abdominal pain, vomiting, and diarrhea with this strain. There are prescription flu antiviral drugs that can treat the illness, but they need to be started as early as possible.
And so it's not too late to get a flu vaccine. This can be tremendously helpful and effective at preventing severe disease that requires hospitalization.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
This is not over. Not by a long shot.
The end of Stranger Things has helped make it one of Netflix's most watched English language series ever. The hit show's 5th season drew more than 31 million views the week of its finale and has received more than 105 million total views and counting. Stranger Things now sits at number 9 on the all-time list.
I am the outlaw.
Robin Hood. A new trailer is giving us our first look at Hugh Jackman in The Death of Robin Hood. The Australian actor offers a gritty, violent take on the classic English thief. The new film shows Robin Hood coming to terms with his violent past and living long enough to see himself become a legend. The Death of Robin Hood hits screens this year.
Star Search, the world's greatest talent competition.
The talent judges for Netflix's Star Search revival have been revealed. Jelly Roll, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Chrissy Teigen are joining the reboot. The 5-week competition kicks off January 20th and will feature new episodes Tuesdays and Wednesdays. In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hyde.
Access changes people's lives, levels them up. What is it that you really want?
The investment bankers of industry are back, and what they want is money and glory. They're chasing new ventures since their firm was sold in last season's finale.
It's a really different season. You know, there's a lot of new characters. It almost feels like a soft reboot of the show.
Max Minghella plays one of those new characters, an ambitious executive behind Tender, a financial app that's key to season 4.
I'm building a democratic financial institution. Tender's a bank killer. And I need a partner.
Each season does have a kind of flavour or a tone or a genre, and that was the genre of this season, was this kind of cat and mouse chase.
We've been made aware of a conspiracy between people who stand to profit from harming us.
Season 4 is a reflection of what we've wanted to write for a while now, which is a kind of like sort of high-stakes corporate espionage thriller, but within the sort of realm and world of industry.
How did you get this number?
Look, I'm working on a story on Tender.
I got a tip that there might be more going on underneath the hood.
The way they shot it feels very voyeuristic. It feels like we're seeing things we're not supposed to see.
I think you want me out of control because that's how you're necessary.
It does feel, in a sense, more of like a spy espionage thriller type of vibe, thrown in with the backstory of industry, and I think it sits in a different way to the previous seasons. That I'm actually super curious to see what people think of it.
You should get out before the end. Whose end?
In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hyde.
Now, Fox 54's Top Teacher, sponsored by Calhoun Community College.
Fox 54 is excited to introduce the first top teacher of 2026. And we're starting off with a bang. We're going to Morgan County, where this young teacher is loved, rightfully so. And she loves her community back by teaching world history, enrichment classes, and helping facilitate the school yearbook. The honor is so worthy, her whole family showed up with her grandparents traveling an hour and a half to surprise her. Meet this week's Fox 54's top teacher, Erica Terrell from Danville Middle School. In Mrs. Erica Terrell's class,
Love people, but I loved history.
Learning about civilization,
3 indigenous societies,
agriculture, and more. Terrell teaches world history to middle schoolers. She started straight out of college and hasn't looked back.
Once I met 8th graders, I think I'll be here forever. I hope. But I have been here in the same classroom for 7 years, and I would love to stay forever.
Terrell loves this age group because it's a chance for her students to grow.
I get to be kind of their first intro into debating and getting to figure out what they believe instead of, just standing on their own beliefs and kind of opening their minds to things they may not have been exposed to before.
It's why students like Brody Simmons,
she's the GOAT,
loves to be in her class.
She's just a chill teacher. She knows how to teach the way us kids know how to. She knows how to teach the way us kids are.
But Terrell knows her students face challenges too.
It's such a hard age for them because they're figuring out so much. And so my goal for, being with this age group is just to let them be confident, teach them how to be confident in who they are.
And it's more than confidence she hopes her students gain from her classroom. She hopes they truly know their value too.
Well, I hope that they feel like they have an adult that listens to them. That every student, no matter what, no matter if they play sports, if they're in the band, if they are not involved in any extracurriculars, that they are all treated equally in my classroom, and that they're all loved.
Congratulations, Mrs. Terrell. It was an honor meeting you and a joy to be in your class. Check out the moment she was surprised by her entire family and friends on Fox 54 Plus. And while you're at it, nominate a teacher at fox54.com.
54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush. Fast-paced news updates, featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True Crime Warrior Style? Killer Cases brings you gripping, real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look, to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app. Available on Android and iOS devices. Streaming 24/7.
Did you know that you can get weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus? Here's how. Go to Fox 54 Plus on your Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, or Samsung. Once you're on the main screen, push the down arrow and click on the Fox 54 Plus Weather Impact 24/7 block. Here, you'll find radar, current temperatures and conditions, traffic cams, forecasts, and more, all available on demand. Want to get back to the main channel? Just push the down arrow and click on the 24/7 stream button. It's your weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus. Start streaming today.